One of the big areas of focus in recent months has been looking at the total volume of biomass available for boilers in the south, and I'm very pleased to say that the work in South Otago and Eastern Southland has more or less been completed, so we have a very clear understanding, or an updated understanding, of the biomass in those areas. And the Southland project is very advanced, so we're not too far away from having a exact or near exact figure of biomass available over the next 10, 15, 20 years. Certainly looks very promising at this point. I guess in the past, many of the fuel sources referred to for boiler systems is broadly referred to as waste wood. Well, it's probably not correct. It's probably been very valuable wood that hasn't been optimised in terms of opportunities or resale. What I can say is that the quality of fuel in this part of the world, wood fuel, is very, very good, and there's a lot of learnings from elsewhere that we're bringing into Southland in this particular area. What I would say also is that we've been working with IPENS, BANZ, EMANZ, EECA, the EECA team and so on, to develop a specifier practice paper, and the idea of this practice paper is to enable people providing advice to owners and operators of boilers a good understanding of how the economics stack up. So in a general sense, biomass or wood boilers wood boilers are a little bit more expensive in initial capital cost, but life cycle costs are where they come into their own for certain size and scale of boiler systems. One of the very interesting findings of late has been the monitoring of some wood energy systems in the south, and the results of those findings, the findings from those measurements show that you can have an optimised boiler system, highly performing boiler system, very energy efficient, and you can also have very low emissions as a consequence of your efforts. So we want to be able to build knowledge in this particular area and help people, particularly those that are looking at retrofitting, to optimise their boiler systems. And this is really important to know, and I dare say we'll cover off this today, and others will too, of course, that with changes pending in the airshed, compliance is a big issue from an emissions perspective. Apart from the obvious CO2 emissions and greenhouse gas reductions, there is huge advantages from a particular perspective, and we'll talk about that. They're really the main highlights for the Wood Energy South project. I have to acknowledge that there's a very good steering group that have been working on this particular project, and a very dedicated advisory group, so it's not as though this work is happening in isolation. There's lots of referrals back to people in the field and people that are owners and operators of systems, and I have to say that the feedback and insights provided by the operators and owners of systems has been hugely valuable. And one of the big challenges with developing specifier papers for IPENS and Institute of Professional Engineers and professional organisations is that they have a set of rules and objectives, and have standards that they uphold, and often the standards have stood the test of time. But what we're trying to do here is develop standards that are robust, but also enabling change, which comes from the operators and the people that are dealing with and converting these systems, and that isn't readily available in formal institutes. So we believe we're going to come up with a very good outcome. We're going through a moderation process at present, and hopefully that will provide guidance for people making decisions around these capital investments. What I'd just like to acknowledge is Dinesh and Mike Burke from EECA. They're here today. EECA have been the funders of this major work in the south, and I'm sure there'll be opportunities during the day to have a chat to the EECA team if you've got any questions regarding energy efficiency and so on. Because again, boiler optimisation and boiler systems can make a tremendous difference to maybe your operating costs and the environment within your business, but the reality is also that you have to look at optimisation of your energy use, and it's not simply just replacing boilers, it's the other bits that hang off it that are important as well. So, you know, we'd like to think that people considering these sort of investments are looking at systems operations as well as just simply boiler and thermal energy replacement.